I'm streaming, baby. Welcome to test event number 2 for the SFR GT Challenge. This is the third season of our league. And you see the GTC1 guys on the track, still qualifying so far. Marsan has the provisional pole position. And he's also up on his fastest lap. So it's looking good for the driver from the Puerto Rico E-Racing Club. I'm filling in for Josh from Demo 1 Garage, who's unfortunately unable to broadcast this event. He should be back soon. We'll hope he gets well soon. Unfortunately, had an injury. So I'm your host. You can call me anything Q you want. For now, it's Super Q31. So Marsan in first. Yes, new purple lap, 153.3. Little over 1 minute left in qualifying. It's only 10 minutes this season. Mikey Mike in second place for Team GTCQ. The Volkswagen GTI VGT. So finish and park already, so they have cut qualifying short by a minute. No worries, I think everyone is... well, actually, it ends at 10 minutes, exactly. So they gave the finish and park instruction a minute before 10 minutes to allow everyone to finish and then stop, instead of cutting it at 10 minutes. So it should still be... We'll keep an eye on Cooper. Might still be able to challenge Marsan and Mikey Mike for a position on the front row. So hi Big Red, glad you're watching. You'll be racing in GTC3 next week. And I think you've been newly signed by BDRT to be in their driver lineup. So Marsan seems like he will have pole position. We'll keep an eye on Cooper. Yes. So Big Red now with Black Dragon Racing Team in GTC3. Now our host, our catch, will be setting up the grid. And we'll have our race in Italy, the Autodrome Lago Maggiore. This is test event number 2. There was no stream for test event 1, but I'll have a surprise for you tomorrow, so stay tuned. Leonti still getting instructions to park. We'll have 30 laps on this track. With laps in the 150s, this will be close to the 1 hour mark. Oh, our friend Tremblay, racing TGTCQ Tremblay, watching the stream with us. Wishing a good race to his teammate Mikey Mike. So as drivers are getting ready to start the race, picking their starting compound, they will have to use they have to use 2 mandatory compounds, the mediums and the hards, for 5 laps each. I will be back in a few moments. So we are getting ready to start the race. Drivers have to pick the compound they will start the race on. You can already cheat a little and see some are on the soft, some are on the mediums, some are on the hards. With 30 laps, they'll have to do at least a third of the race on the mandatory compounds. 10 laps. So I'm getting ready to start this broadcast in a few moments. I'll wait for the go from our host, our Catch, who's also an SFR GT official. Gets to do a lot of hosting, organizing, setting up drivers, especially with 3 divisions this season. GTC1 being the top division. So we'll have GTI VGT. VGTs are allowed this season for the first time in SFR. The only concept car you could use was the Supra, which is now a real car, no longer a concept car. So you're allowed to use the FT1 VGT, the Volkswagen GTI VGT, the Peugeot VGT, and also the Citroën. Nothing is off limits this season. Yes, Tremblay. This is Q Racer 31, Super Q31. If you're wondering who's the commentator tonight. So yellow flags. You won't see these penalties very often unless there's an incident and someone overtakes under a yellow flag, but that was just a little bug in the game. Nothing to worry about. Penalties are off. There's a review after the race. There are pit penalties for drivers cutting lines and causing and having unsafe entries and exits. We have new penalties for the tire rules, the new mandatory compound rules, which means if you do less than 5 laps on each mandatory compounds, you get a 10-second penalty per lap. And if you don't use one of the mandatory compounds, you will get disqualified from the race. Just give him the good to go. So we should be getting underway in a few seconds. Usually that's a 1 minute, a 60-second warning. I have my spreadsheet so I can keep track of all the compounds used by the 15 drivers we have here. We have 14 of our 15 regular drivers, and we have MSP3 filling in for DNAJ Mac 2448, who's unfortunately having to miss the race. And I want to wish happy Mother's Day to all the mothers watching this race. Tough times now with the pandemic, so many of you won't be able to see their mothers, but they'll probably be doing some FaceTime, Skype, or Zoom, or any other app to wish them happy Mother's Day. So I want to wish happy Mother's Day to my own mother. And thanks for taking this time to watch the race live or as a replay on our YouTube channel, SFR GT Challenge. So Leonti's still getting a lot of airtime right now. Who almost won the Elite Championship last season, which is the equivalent of GTC1 this season. Number 87. Our champion last season is now with TX3, Virtual Drivers by TX3, BX7 Darkrai, now TX3 Cooper in the Jaguar. We'll see if he's able to get a win tonight. No points are given at the end of this race. It's only a test event. Drivers don't have to use their car, the car they plan on using for the first few rounds of the season. And we have the final countdown to the start. 10 seconds, 1 second left. And here we go. We'll see the grid. And we'll have to start. Hopefully there won't be a red flag. I'm allowed to call 2 red flags before we get the final restart if there's a major pileup. So Marsan in first place, Mikey Mike in second place, Cooper in third place, PX7 John, PHX DJ, DJ Schwartz in fourth place. So we should have the red lights. And then we'll have 30 laps of action on Maggiore. Marsan in the lead. Everyone seems to be off the grid. Yes, some cars struggling a little, the Supras. So far everyone is off the grid safely. Mikey Mike in second place, no major pileup here. GTC1 has top drivers in the top split in FIA GTC, so they behaved very well at the start. It's a very short run down to turn 1 from the starting grid. And everyone is off the grid safely. There shouldn't be a need for a red flag, so we're good to go for now, but I have to wait until the first few minutes before I'm able to say that this is a race. Yes, some viewers might see this open top car in second place, the VGT. Very unusual it wouldn't be allowed in real-life GT3 racing. However, Group 3 is based on GT3, but not exactly with the same regulations. So Mikey Mike challenging Marsan for the lead. I'm assuming they are on different compounds. I'll have to have a look. Nope, they're both on the mediums. So we can already check the boxes for these 2 drivers. And as I say that, my pen exploded. So Mikey Mike now leading the race in front of Marsan. Remember, GTC1 drivers are not allowed to use traction control. So this is why you've seen a lot of wheel spin at the start for some of these with some of these cars. Mikey Mike going very wide, keeping it on the tarmac. So he'll be leading the first lap. Marsan started on pole position, but is now down in second place. So Mikey Mike on the mediums, Marsan on the mediums, Cooper on the mediums. Autista not in the Lamborghini this time, in a Ferrari. It looks like a C8 Corvette. They look alike, but it's still a Ferrari 458 Italia GT3 race car. He's also on the mediums. MSP3 is the first driver on the softs. John, PX7 John in his M&M car on the mediums in 6th place for Phoenix 7 Sim Racing. Another driver on the softs, Spec 1 in the AMG. Catch on the mediums, with Karts fan right behind him in the AMG in 9th place. So 2 drivers on the mediums. Will Karts fan try to overtake there? Nope. Niantisto started on the hards, dropped to 10th place, with Judoka trying to overtake him in the Supra. The Supra was Niantisto's last season, was Niantisto's car last season. So Niantisto on the hards, Judoka on the mediums. The mediums should be at least 1 second faster than the hards. and he'll have much better grip out of the corners. Esme in another Supra on the hards, in 13th place for Tupai Racing Team, Puerto Rican team. And his teammate Formula, who was a reserve driver last season, now full-time driver in the Porsche, also on the hards. And in last place we have Arrowhead, who's back full-time on the hards in the C7 Corvette for Rockefeller Racing. Mikey Bike still leading the race in his VGT. Marsan right behind him. See if you can have a look at the start. Let's try to see the replay there. Yes. We'll have to wait until we get the red lights. Unfortunately, the replay is a little longer than I expected. So no traction control. Okay, so we're getting close to the start on the replay. That's a very long run up to the start. So yes, the Supras behind had a bad start. Seems like Autista got very quickly off the grid. Moved up to 4th place. A lot of Supras, and the Supra is not known as being a very good car on standing starts. No incidents. Everything was clean. A few drivers gaining and losing spots. Now Autista challenging Cooper for 3rd place. The leaderboard is gone. Just wait a second, I'll put it back on. Yes, okay. There it is. And you also have the track map now. And I'll get rid of this. There, good. So Mikey Mike. Go. Okay, that's good. The leaderboard is back. So Mikey Mike in 1st place, still with Marsan right behind him, with Cooper struggling in 3rd place, trying to keep Autista and MSP3 behind him. Remember, the Toyota driver, MSP3, is on softs, whereas I have Cooper and Autista on the mediums. So different tire strategy there. As Spec 1 is right behind John, who's also on the mediums, and Spec 1 is on the softs. So the Jaguar doesn't seem to be as good as the Ferrari right now. It could be saving fuel. Fuel strategy is a big factor in this race. Might have missed an incident. There's someone quite far behind everyone. We'll have a look to see who it is. It's Arrowhead. Might have been an issue at the start. We'll stay with the battle for 3rd place. Autista really putting the pressure on Cooper. And we already have one driver entering the pits. Spec 1, who was on the softs, might be looking at a different strategy to avoid being stuck behind drivers who are on the slower tires. But Autista still in 4th place behind Cooper, not able to overtake him yet. There's still no change for the top. At the top in 1st place, Mikey Mike and Karts Fan managed to overtake Catch. So now the PX7 drivers in 5th and 7th, with the fastest RR driver now in 8th place, Catch in his M6 GT3 race car. think he's using the Valkenhorst model. Yes, with the fog lights. So the car used by Kazunori Yamauchi during the 24-hour race, and Catch able to overtake Kartman. Well, actually Kartman might come back. He has the inside in the next corner, and Catch lifts. Doesn't force the issue. They're both on the same compound, so no driver has the advantage right now. The AMG was the dominant car last season. Very popular choice for Season 2 in SFR GT Challenge. This season we don't have that many AMGs. There's more variety, and we have pit stops already for the first two drivers. Well, basically everyone is pitting now, other than MSP3, who's now in the lead. So they're getting rid of the mediums. I believe, well, Marsan managed to exit in front of MSP3, and he's on the hards. So he's on fresh hards, and MSP3 is on slightly worn softs. So that will be interesting to see how it goes in the next few laps. I can already check the boxes. Both compounds used by Marsan already used the mediums, and he's now on the hards. So MSP3 still on the track, has to pit. Mikey Mike chose to use the softs, but he came out behind Marsan, even though he was leading the race earlier. Might have taken some fuel, or took a little longer to change his tires. Cooper also on the softs, so the leader is on hards, and everyone else behind him is on hards. Is on softs. Excuse me. So it'll be interesting to see if MSP3 is able to... Nope, he's not able to do it, but Mikey Mike is doing the outside, but he'll have the inside at the next corner. So he's moving in second place. Cooper trying to get third place from MSP3. Try to bring back the leaderboard, there it is. So 1, 2, 3. Marsan stuck on the hards in front of Mikey Mike and Cooper. That's going to be interesting. And he's sliding all over the place. Mikey Mike might be able to overtake him at the last corner. Yes, he does. It will give a run to Cooper. Cooper might be able to gain 2 spots there as MSP3 enters the pits. 3 drivers fighting for the first place. Mikey Mike still in first place. Cooper almost got him, but he's in second place. Marsan now being challenged by Autista, who's his teammate in the Ferrari on soft tires. So Marsan is basically a moving chicane right now. He was our pole sitter, the fastest driver in qualifying, but he's now the slowest driver on track, at least in a top 5. Struggling on the hards, but he has to use them. He'll be good to go after his hard tire stint. He'll be able to use the softs all the way, as he just lost 2 spots to Autista, his teammate, and John in the Supra. Now Spec 1 is right behind him, most likely on softs, pushing hard. It's Mikey Mike and Cooper. 1, 2. We'll go through the field again to look at tire strategies. So we have them on softs. We have Marsan, the first driver, on hards. Spec 1 on the softs. Catch on the softs. MSP3 now on the medium, so we can tick that box. So that's good. We also have Judica on. Am I making? Yeah, Judica in. No, let me check. Yeah, okay, good. In that's Lightspeed actually. Wait, there it is. Still have to learn some of the new numbers. Lightspeed's changed from 716 to 20. He was XXCK 716 last season. He's on the softs. Let's get rid of this again. Cards fan, PX7 Cards fan, a new driver in SFR GT Challenge on the hards. So he's doing the same thing as Marsan, mediums, hards. We have Neantisto quite far back in on the medium, so he did hards, mediums, and he'll be able to use the softs all the way to the finish line. I believe he's using his teammate's livery. That should be Esme 7, TPRT Esme 7, who has number 33 this time, and he's on the mediums. His teammate TPRT Formula in the Porsche on the mediums, so they have used both compounds, or in they will have used both compounds. And here's Judoka. I was making a mistake earlier with DNA Lightspeed, his teammate, but he's on the hards, so choosing to use both mandatory compounds early on. And we have Arrowhead in last position in 15th place on the mediums, also using all the mandatory compounds during his first 2 stints. So there you have the situation right now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers using both mandatory compounds in their first 2 stints. Some starting on the hard, some starting on the mediums. As Mikey Mike still leading the race on the softs, he will have to use the racing hards later during the race. Still 22 laps left in this 30-lap race. And Autista really pushing hard, catching TX3 Cooper, our Season 2 champion. Autista finished in 3rd place in the championship last season in the Lamborghini. Actually in 2nd place last season. And Neantisto was in 3rd. Really looks like the new Corvette GT3, but it isn't. Autista is one of the best livery designers in GT Sport. I think this livery even got retweeted by I think a real racing team last year, as they really thought it was the new Corvette in GT Sport. Great design, and also great pace, still putting the pressure on Cooper. And John having a very good first showing this season. He missed the race, so just when I say that, he clips the wall, but nothing major. Unlikely to have caused any damage. Might have lost a few tenths, but nothing major. As you see, Cooper struggling a little in front of Autista. Autista has the fastest lap so far in this race. He's on the softs. The top 5 drivers are on the softs right now. Let's get in the hood view with him. Spec 1 already another pit stop. His second pit stop on lap 9. So 2 stints on the softs, and he'll have to use both mandatory compounds in the remaining 21 laps. So right before the race, I was asking drivers if they knew which car they were going to use for this test event. Obviously, they don't have to commit to using this car for the whole season. And he said the Lamborghini was a handful and he wanted to try something else, but he didn't know what he would use. And he went for the Ferrari, which seems like it was a great decision, because he's now in a position to overtake Cooper for 2nd place. Cooper barely clipping the gravel there. Gonna give a run to Autista. We'll see if he tries to throw his car on the inside and overtake him. I think Mikey Mike almost hit the wall there. Kept it on the track. Autista really putting the pressure. Cooper must be racing in his mirrors, looking non-stop to make sure the Ferrari driver is not able to overtake him. See you see the sticker C8R, so both drivers are entering the pits. So they're doing a short 5-lap stint on the softs. We'll see what tires they decide to use. Some are on the hards, Cooper on the hards. So Cooper doing his stint on the hards right now. Autista on the soft, so that will be very interesting. Will he overtake him in this sector? Really hard to overtake there, but he could overtake him at the hairpin. The next corner we'll see. So Autista getting inside, easy maneuver there. I assume yes, John is also on the softs. So Cooper might lose another spot here. Yes, really bad exit there, clipping the curbs. John is right on his bumper. Let's get on board. He's gonna have the inside. And there it is, John in third place now for PX7. As Mikey Mike still has to pit. Still on the softs. But what we've seen from last round is that Mikey Mike is able to stretch his racing softs stints much longer than other drivers. Seems like the Volkswagen VGT GTI is a very good car on tires. Should be pitting now. Yes, he's pitting. He was on the softs. We'll see what he picks for his third stint. Taking some fuel, not much, just enough. And I still have him on the softs. And he's exiting right alongside Cooper. Cooper has the inside. Will he? Nope, he's on the hards. I think, yes, Cooper is on the hards. So Mikey Mike on the soft, still able to get in front of him. But he exited in third place. He took some fuel. That might explain why he exited in third place, but also could have lost some time stretching his stint on softs. Autista still the fastest driver on the track. Purple fastest lap. And we'll go through the field now that most drivers have done their second pit stop to see what tires they are using right now. Let's cheat a little. So Cooper is the first driver on the hards. Spec 1 still on the softs, so 3 stints on the softs. Really liking this soft rubber. Marsan now on the softs, and he's good to go. He doesn't have to use the mediums or the softs or the hards again. You could still choose to use the mediums or the hards, but with the pit lane being very short on Maggiore, there's no point in doing that. Most drivers will only use the mediums and the hards only once. Let me go back. I think I skipped someone. Catch is on the softs in the M6 for Rockefeller Racing, and you have Neantisto and his former teammate Esme, who's now a TPRT driver, fighting side by side in the twisty section of the final sector of the Autodrome Lago Maggiore, both on the softs. His car last season challenging him. He's in the VGT this season. Esme chose to use the Supra for this round. We have Lightspeed on the hards. First stint on one of the harder mandatory compounds. with MSP3 right behind him, challenging for 10th place in the Supra, who's on the hard, so he won't have to use the the harder compounds after his racing hard stick. Karts fan, who's used both compounds already, is on the softs and challenging MSP3 for 11th. We'll get inside his car. Let's see if I can get the actual cockpit view. There it is. Much nicer than the hood view. He's really pushing hard. He has the advantage. Both drivers in front of him are on hards. And we'll have a quick look as he overtakes MSP3 for 11th. We'll have to jump to the battle for first place. There's plenty of action going on right now on the track. Multi-car battles for first place and also for 4th place and 7th place and 9th place. Basically everyone is fighting on the track right now. No one is creating a big gap over their competitors. Bautista, John and Mikey Mike are all on the soft compounds, the fastest compound we have available tonight. Bautista is not being challenged by John right now. Has a 1 second, almost a 1 second gap, but he's going wide. Will he hit the wall or will he save it? But he's gonna lose plenty of time. John will be right behind him. As you see in the background, Marsan challenging Spec 1. But we'll get back to the battle for first place. Bautista might be struggling a little. The Ferrari can be a little twitchy at times as Marsan is alongside Spec 1. Will he be able to get 4th? He has the inside at the next corner. Yes, he does. Gained the spot on the Rockefeller Racing driver as Mikey Mike is pushing really hard. He was leading the race early on, lost some time in the pits, probably took some fuel. He might gain back this time later during the race. And he's inside John in his M&M car. Mikey Mike probably getting a little hungry for 2nd place behind him. Not everyone has a livery approved by the officials of the SFR GT Challenge now. So next round you'll see the actual liveries and the actual cars they'll be using. And new this season they'll have a car change token that they will be able to use between rounds 4 and 9. So that would be from mid-July to the end of September. If they want to pick a different car for the last few rounds of the season. They don't have to use it, but they have to use it between rounds 4 and 9. And we have ZFT Psycho in the chat watching the race. Probably watching to see if his friend Mikey Mike is going to be able to overtake the 2 drivers in front of him, as Bautista almost threw it in the grass again. Pushing really hard. Spec 1 let me try to catch him. He was on the softs. And he's now on the mediums, so we can take that box for him. Might as well go through the field. But we'll see if Mikey Mike is able to challenge John. He's really putting the pressure right now. The GTI, VGT going a little wide, flirting with the track limits. The VGT is very strong this season. Likely has benefited from the updates. But he just had a little issue there, lost some time. John really in control this round. He has won a race at Maggiore before in the same car. That was way back then when most of us were racing in the TNTR GT series. He had won a race, I think it was season 3 in the Supra, so he's back in his favorite car on this track. And he's really putting the pressure there. We'll quickly go through the field before everyone else fits. So I think we still have Cooper struggling on the hards. Spec 1 finally using one of the mandatory compounds, putting the pressure on Cooper, on the mediums. We have Lightspeed still on the hards, MSP3 still on the hards, Arrowhead in 15th place, and they'll be pitting. Mikey Mike is staying on the track. So we'll see what compounds they pick. They still have to use the hards. Will they use the hards now, or they'll wait until the end of the race? So Autista decides to stay on the hards, stay on the softs actually. Let me try to find our friend John, who's probably taking a lot of fuel. Yes, took plenty of fuel, and he's on the hards. And he's exiting right alongside Niantisto. There's a crazy battle going on. Four cars almost on top of each other. So John now has to defend on the slowest of the compounds we have available to our drivers right now. And Niantisto, let me try to change the camera angle, challenging him, and he's able to overtake John as that's Formula, DPRT Formula, also overtaking John. And now Karts fan will try to do the same thing. That would mean John would have dropped 3 positions, and he's struggling there. This car dancing in the chicane, not in the chicane, in the S's. Still has a good top speed, but he has a major disadvantage on the other drivers around him. Karts fan right on his bumper. Let's get on his bumper, on his hood. He's really putting the pressure on John right now. He's really hungry for 8th place, wanting to overtake the M&M's car. Let's just hope nothing bad happens and John doesn't become hot chocolate in the wall. John really struggling and gets on the grass, recovers. Could have been really bad, and now Karts fan has a run on him. Has the inside, will he complete that overtake? And John gets in the runoff area. Marsan right behind him. And I think John almost spun there. We'll have to look at the replay. We haven't had a look at many replays this round. I think we've missed a lead change. Actually, I think it was done in the pits. It wasn't done on track. Mikey Mike, who had refueled earlier, probably hasn't taken any fuel this time, and he's now ahead of Autista by 1.6 seconds. We'll have a look at the replay. Get back to this battle. I think it was with Karts fan, as Marsan is now ahead of him. Okay, so Karts fan overtakes John, and John slides, and Marsan sees an opportunity. John almost spins and lost 2 positions there, so he's dropped something like 4 positions since his pit stop. Get back to the live action. Mikey Mike losing a lot of ground to Autista. He's on the softs, but his softs are very worn, unlike Autista's tires, they're still fresh. Will he pit this time? Yes, he does. Mikey Mike still has to use the hards. Autista still has to use the hards. Will he pick the hards this time? Yes, he does. So Mikey Mike on the hards has to run 5 laps if he wants to avoid a penalty. And he's put the leaderboard back. He's 4 seconds behind Autista, so it's only a 5.5 second time loss when you pit for tires without taking any fuel. And Niantisto now has the fastest lap, so MR car is really dominant here. Autista and Mikey Mike, and Catch in third place right now, out of nowhere. I think he was in 7th position earlier, now in 3rd place. Could be out of sequence, and he still has to use the hards. And he's on the soft, and he also hasn't refueled yet. So we'll see where he comes out after his next pit stop. We have Spec 1 still on the mediums, still has to use the hards. Niantic still use both mandatory compounds, so he's good to go, and he's on the softs. And in 5th place right now. Marsan can use the softs all the way, same thing with Cooper. So 5, 6, and 7th. Same thing with Esme in the Supra. So plenty of GT Sport aliens now good to go with the mandatory compounds. They can use the softs all the way. John still on the hards, has to run a few more laps on this compound. And there's a battle right behind him between Formula and Judoka. I believe they're both on the softs, but Judoka is on very worn softs. And the Porsche barely clips the rear of the Supra. No one is pitting this lap. Trying to, okay, good. Judoka hasn't refueled yet, so we'll have to do a very long pit stop eventually, most likely in the next few laps, as Formula is trying to overtake him at the outside, and now has the inside and should be able to claim 10th place. Yes, he does. As there's another battle in front, that's Esme and Cooper. Esme now ahead of the TX3 driver. And we have Autista building a gap over Mikey Mike. Mikey Mike is on the hards, so he should be losing a lot of time to Autista, but Autista will have to use the hards later, so he should be able to gain back all the ground he's losing right now, unless he makes a mistake. These drivers are highly skilled, very rarely make a mistake. Catch still has to use the hards. He's in 3rd place. Still has to take plenty of fuel to make it to the end. We'll go through the field again, just making sure we know what tires everyone is on. Cooper losing some ground to Esme. John still on the hards, with Formula catching him on the softs. Formula still doesn't have to use any of the mandatory compounds anymore. He has used both the mediums and the hards. We have MSP3 also used both compounds ahead of Hardsfan, who also has used both compounds, both on the softs. Lightspeed got rid of his hards, and he's now on the fastest of the 3 compounds we have available. We'll see if Kartsfan is able to overtake MSP3. Almost had to take evasive action, avoiding action, to avoid causing a collision at turn 1. So the PX7 driver trying to overtake our reserve driver, MSP3, for 12th place. And Arrowhead is in 15th place for Rockefeller Racing. We'll be looking to gain a few positions until the end of the race, as strategies play out. Autista now has an 8.4 second gap, as there's still a battle going on. Leontisto has managed to catch. Let's get on board with him. Will the Quebec driver racing for the Puerto Rico E-Racing Club be able to overtake the boss, RR Catch? So it's a battle between German cars, Volkswagen and BMW, as we have Autista entering the pit, so we'll switch to our leader. Can Mikey Mike make it to the end? Nope. No one can make it to the end right now. Maybe on fuel, we'll have to look. And Mikey Mike and Autista alongside each other. Almost had a collision at turn 1. That was very close. Let's have a look. He's on the softs. Mikey Mike is on the hards. So he managed to exit in front of Mikey Mike, but Autista still has to do as many pit stops as Mikey Mike, but he has to use the harder compound, racing hards. So his goal right now is to build a big enough gap so he doesn't lose the lead on his final stint on the racing hards. Mikey Mike will be able to pit in the next 2 laps, in 2 laps, I believe, to get rid of the hards. I'm not sure exactly the number of laps he's done on the hards right now, but he's really losing a lot of ground. Already 1.7 seconds in half a lap. Now Esme is in 3rd place, so Catch has entered the pits earlier, and he's now on the hards, so he's using the harder compound. So he'll drop from 7th to 3rd as I think that's his teammate Spec 1 almost losing it behind him. Let's have a look at the replay. Yes, slid a little, then cut the corner and almost lost it. But managed to recover, jumped on the massive sausage curb, and the car still intact. The suspension hasn't collapsed. But he's really putting the pressure on his teammates. Whoa! Ay ay ay. Spec 1 hitting his boss. Seems like Catch is telling him, overtake me, overtake me, overtake me, don't hit me. And that's it. Spec 1 in front of Catch. That was very scary. I'm not sure about his tires. Oh, you mean Mikey Mike, Big Red. No, I don't think anyone can finish the race on this set of tires, as I think Parts Fan almost hit the wall there. Let's have a look at this quickly. That was a little scary. I thought we would have our first... Nope. Nope, he's managed to avoid the wall. We won't be the first driver to hit the wall of champions. So now Autista clearly, 4.5 seconds ahead of Mikey Mike. But remember, he still has to use the racing hard tires, so he has to push really hard to build the biggest gap he can over the correct driver. So it's really a battle between the Puerto Rico E-Racing Club and Team GTC1 right now, with Esme and Marsan kind of the other drivers that are in the mix, still battling for 3rd place, but quite a long way back. I think Marsan might regret his strategy of using the hards on his 2nd stint, as he had the lead. Might have been wiser to use the softs. We'll see how it goes. I think Mikey Mike should be able to pit this lap. Yes. It's always good when the broadcaster is right about strategy. So he should be getting on the softs. But looking at the numbers, well, 8 laps is not that... Yeah, he should be able to do 8 laps on the softs. With the Volkswagen GTI VGT being quite good on tires, shouldn't be an issue, but he might also do 2 short stints on the softs. We'll see how it goes. The pit lane is so short, there's no point losing time on worn tires and risking it. But now he's, let me check again. He's currently in 6th place. He's 18.5 seconds behind Autista, who has to pit and take fuel and the hards. can expect Pista to pit in the next 3 or 4 laps. Well, actually, no, in the next 3 laps. I think he'll pit in 2 laps. He'll pit on lap 25. So he can do this, his mandatory 5-lap stint on the Racing Hearts. Marsan now back in 2nd place, Niantisto in 3rd place, Esme in 4th place. Oh, Esme losing it, saving it. The Supra being a little understeery on worn soft tires. I'll bring back the leaderboard as soon as I can confirm. Oh. Esme pushing way too hard, should pit this lap. He's getting out of fuel soon. And Marsan sliding in front of Niantisto. So, prek. A lot of preks. In 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, with 3 drivers for the Puerto Rico E-Racing Club. I think Marsan is pushing way too hard, probably on worn tires. Trying to recover from his earlier strategy calls that were a little, I don't know. Well, we'll see how it goes. He's still the first. He's still ahead of his teammate and of Esme, but they're sliding on worn softs. Really struggling there. They're going wide. They're really using more than they should use of the track limits. 4 wheels off the track. So it's basically Puerto Rico 1, 2, 3, 4, with one of the Puerto Rican drivers being a Quebec driver. Skipped someone. Cooper in 5th, Mikey Mike down in 6th, but he can still gain a lot of ground on some of the drivers. But it looks like he will have to stretch his soft tire stint to 8 laps if he wants to gain any ground on the other drivers in front of him. There's a crazy battle for 2nd place now. They're all bumper to bumper. Marsan, Niantisto, and Esme. But Marsan not under pressure as much as he was a few moments ago. Niantisto is not right on his bumper, but Marsan getting in the grass. Not losing any time, thankfully. Will he pit this time? Nope. Niantisto pits, Esme pits. Probably their final stop. Really curious to see how much fuel Marsan has. Marsan has plenty of fuel. He has enough fuel to get to the end. So it might not be... he might have used the right strategy, but pushing really hard, trying to counter Autista's strategy. Will likely pit this lap to get his racing hearts, otherwise he might get a penalty. I want to go through the field quickly. I believe we still have Spec 1 who has to use the racing hearts, with Autista also having to use the racing hearts. Everyone else is clear. Now Lightspeed. Oh, that's a catch on the hards. DNA Lightspeed, where are you? There you are. There you are. You still have to use the hards, the mediums actually. So 3 drivers have to pit 4 tires this lap. It will be very interesting to see if Autista can come out in front of Marsan. Marsan, who's been basically absent from the first few positions for the whole race, and he finds himself in contention for the win. Mikey Mike has Cooper right behind him, pushing and kissing his bumper. Autista is in the pits. Now has to use the hards. Plenty, not that much fuel, so we'll see. I think there'll be Nope. Marsan pitting again. Okay, so Marsan had to pit again with fresh tires, but he had plenty of fuel. So now Autista on the hards has to maintain his 8-second gap over Mikey Mike. Mikey Mike on the softs with Marsan right behind him on the softs. Niantisto has to deal with Cooper behind him. They're all on the softs also, and I assume Spec 1 is on the hards. So Spec 1 uses his last of the mandatory compound. And we'll have a look at Lightspeed if I can find him. I might have missed him, but he seems to be on the softs again. Still, I thought he still had to use the mediums, so that will put a question mark for the review. There was so much action, I might have missed him. But if he indeed forgot to use the mediums, he will get disqualified from the race. Let's hope he used the mediums while we were not looking at him. But now Autista already losing 1.5 seconds. And Cooper, oh my, that's a crazy battle there. We'll have to save the oh, where are the drivers? They're there. 3 wide won't work. Cooper and Niantisto and Esme, they're all on soft tires. I think Esme bumped Niantisto, but still, they're still on the track. Esme gaining 5th, but Niantisto has a better exit. Will they touch? Nope. But Niantisto could get back in 5th place. And I think they're side by side for 2nd. Nope, Mikey Mike pitting. So there you have it. Tire strategy still playing a role in the race. I thought Mikey Mike would be able to stretch his stint to 8 laps, but that was probably too much to ask for the VGT. But he still exits in 3rd place, right ahead of Cooper, who's still battling with Esme and where are they? Esme and Niantisto. So that's crazy battles right now for the final stages of this race. Only 4 laps left. As Autista is losing plenty of ground to Marsan, who looked like he had a bad strategy, but actually might still win the race. And Mikey Mike doing an extra pit stop, still in 3rd place ahead of Cooper, Esme, and Niantisto losing some ground. Will he pit again? No, still has pretty decent soft tires. And John, who was battling for 1st place earlier, is now in 9th. So plenty of drivers losing ground. Spec 1 stuck on the hards, has to hold the TPRT driver and the PX7 driver behind him. They have fresher, soft tires. And that might allow John to challenge Formula. Well, might he get sandwiched? Well, nope, not exactly. John got him. I think he lost 2 spots. Yes, he did. That was quite exciting to watch. So John gained 2 spots. Formula still in 8th, but gained a spot over Spec 1, who lost 2 positions. And we still have Autista with 3.6 seconds over Marsan. Struggling a little, probably having to warm his tires. Hard tires don't stay as hot as softs as easily. You have to work them a little harder. So it will be, I think Marsan will be able to catch Autista on the last lap, and he just purpled last lap 153.953. Let's try to find our friend. Where is the NA Lightspeed? Still on the soft, so we'll have to see. He's not, might have used the mediums while we were not watching. But Autista, well, might even be caught by Marsan next lap. On the penultimate lap, lap 29. We're on lap 28 of this 30 lap race. Marsan pushing like an animal. 153.9, so that was the last lap, his fastest lap. Could be another purple lap. We'll see. His soft tires don't last as long as the mediums or the hards, but they're very fast. I'm pretty sure Marsan will be able to catch his teammate on the next lap. Definitely have to watch this situation unfold. Mikey Mike still ahead of TX3 Cooper, could go on for a second podium of these test events. I thought someone was in the grass, but it could have been just an issue there. As TVRT Formula caught John struggling a little on the Supra. Spec 1 dropped to 9th, Catch in 10th, challenged by MSP3 and Kartsfan. I think the leaders are within less than a second. So we'll ride on board with Marsan as he sees his prey, his teammate. Will he be friendly to him? Will he stay behind him? Or will he challenge him for the win? So thank you, Tremblay. It's always glad to see you in the chat during these broadcasts. So Marsan right behind Autista. Will he be able to overtake him here? He has the edge over him. He has the softs, and Autista has the hards. I think Marsan is gonna get in front of him. Yes, claims the lead. Who knew Marsan would be leading on the penultimate lap after dropping like a fly during his racing hard stint earlier in the race. And I don't think Autista will be able to challenge him for the win, so it's gonna be, unless there's a major issue, I think it's gonna be a Prec 1-2. Marsan the favorite right now. Autista in second place. Mikey Mike has a bigger gap over TX3 Cooper than earlier, so it should be good for the podium as long as he stays on the track. Esme and Niantisto still fighting for 5th place. Niantisto was losing ground on Esme. Esme seems to be struggling a little. John still has to deal with Formula. Formula right behind him, wants to get an extra spot for his team, TPRT, Two-Part Racing Team. Yes, seems like Marsan is going to run away with it on the last lap. Softs versus Racing Hards. Racing Hards are no match for the soft tires. If Marsan wins the race, he will be the first driver, I think, in the history of the league to win both test events. That will be a first. I won't have driver interviews after the race, unfortunately, but make sure you join our Discord server so you can read all the comments from the drivers after the race. Autista should be able to stay in front of Mikey Mike. Mikey Mike only 1.9 seconds behind him, but still too far behind. And Niantisto still trying to get Esme. Esme has a lot of speed on the straight. Niantisto should have slightly fresher tires, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be enough. He's getting on the gravel, trying too hard. There's another battle. Formula still trying to get John. Oh, and John doing the chocolate move. Melting all over the track. And we're getting to the final corner. Marsan going a little wide. I claim his second victory of season 3 test event. So Marsan first place, Autista second place, Mikey Mike in third place. Same podium as last round, I believe. Cooper in 4th place, Esme in 5th, right ahead of Niantisto. So Niantisto hasn't managed to claim his position. And John and Formula will go side by side At the finish line, nope. John gets him. So he hasn't melted at the end. And there's a crazy battle for 9th. Spec 1 on the Hearts. Manages to hold catch. Judoka, MSP3. And I believe we have Cards Fan in 13. DNA Lightspeed, XXCK716 will get 14th place. And Arrowhead, whoop. I'm not sure what happened there. Might get a replay, why not? Oh, a little mistake at the end, it happens. It's a test event, you should not worry about it. He still has 2 minutes to cross the finish line. Drivers won't have to use this car for the season, so they might still change their mind. But I'm pretty sure Marsan will stay in the AMG. He's been winning and winning and winning. Why would he change? Arrowhead will finish in 15th for Rockefeller Racing. And I'm sure we'll see him fighting for the top 5 next race, round 1 in Brands Hatch in Great Britain. I'll have to drink some water as we see Marsan 14 winning for the Puerto Rico Racing Club. I've been streaming for over 3 hours. You'll see something special tomorrow on our channel. So we'll have a look at the results. Marsan for the Puerto Rico E-Racing Club in the Mercedes-Benz AMG in first place. Autista still in second place, like last race, I believe. Yes, in the Ferrari this time, with Mikey Mike another podium. So I think the podium is the same as last round, Testament 1. TX3 Cooper in fourth place. In the Jaguar, he was using the Lexus last time. Esme, first race this season in the Supra, in 5th place, right in front of Neantisto, who's still using the VGT, Volkswagen GTI. In 6th place, John in the very chocolatey M&M's Supra in 7th place, lucky 7 for PX7. TPRT Formula in the Porsche in 8th, Spec 1 in 9th place, so the best of the Rockefeller Racing drivers. In front of his boss, RR Catch in the M6. Judoka in 11th in the Supra, so a lot of Supras. MSP3 in, he was a reserve driver for DNA JMAC 2448 in the Supra in 12th. Cards Fan, PX7 Cards Fan in 13th in the AMG. DNA Lightspeed in the AMG in 14th, and Arrowhead in last position, 15th place. So everyone who started the race finished the race. And Marsan got the fastest lap, pole position, and the win. Same thing as Testament number 1. Let me save the replay, as I'll need it to review everything. So I think everyone followed the tire rules correctly. Still have a question mark on Lightspeed, so we'll have to see during the review. I'm pretty sure he used them. It was a very action-packed race, plenty of action throughout the field. So I'm sure everyone has followed the rules correctly, but we still have to review everything. I want to thank everyone who was watching this race live and leaving comments in the comment section on YouTube. I'll be back next week for the GTC2 race live, and my friends Catch and Rodrigo will be back for GTC3. So until then, I wish you a great night, stay safe, stay home, race home, happy Mother's Day,